Okay, now we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Today is Saturday, March 26th already. It's weird questions today, like we do every month. Today, I'm joined by Johnny, Tarot's Apprentice, Tony, Shining Hawk Healing, and Adrian, Red Lentil Healing. I'm getting the hang of the pointing thing because I forget that the camera is backward. So we have a lot of great questions today. Thank you to to you guys for some of the questions that you've suggested, and to everybody in the community for leaving their comments on my most recent community post about what are your weird questions, because there were quite a few really, really good ones. Before we begin, I know we went over this yesterday on Tony's stream. Was it? Wait, it was your turn last time, right, Tony?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
What are you guys up to in the coming week or so on your channels?
Well, Tuesday, we're all going to get together and do cards. And then Friday, we'll be on Johnny's channel, right?
Yes, ma'am. I would say just do this. It'll point.
Whoa. Okay, so Karen, thank you for that super chat. That is huge. I was not expecting that at all. I really appreciate it. What a lovely way to start the stream. You are so generous and kind. Thank you. Wow.
So Tuesday on Tony.
Oh yeah, Tuesday and then Friday on Johnny's station channel.
It works too.
We're on TV now. Public access.
So that's all that's going on for me. And then I think I'm going to record a namaste, #namaste this week. So I'll do that. Just stay in the stream.
Feel Good Fridays for me. So keeping that going. Johnny with Tuesday and Tony. Thursday, Friday with Johnny. Friday, Feel Good Fridays, and then horoscope readings Saturday the 2nd.
And the Feel Good Fridays is what sparked the team Namaste. For all those out there who have a channel, have cards of some sort, pull one, put it on your community post, or make a video putting some encouragement out there. If you can put garbage, you can put encouragement. Also, 30 Days of Positive Thinking. If you have not gotten yours, Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble, I do believe.
Yes, Barnes & Noble.
That is Sienna's coloring book, so make sure you get you one. What
do you have?
And April 3rd, we will be on my channel doing the tarot talk. And that's it. That's all I got.
Got a little flying thing. Oh yeah, go to Adrian's channel, buy meditation oil, buy little aches and pains. I have this one because my thumb was hurting. I'm like, yes, feel better. It's good, y'all. Go buy.
Rub some on this
feel better.
Right before we started.
It saves me during the rainstorms too. All this hurt, and I just. Okay, there we go.
I realized that you don't actually have to be that old in order to feel the weather in your bones.
No.
That was a little bit alarming the first time that, the air pressure and all that stuff changes outside. And I'm like, why does my hip hurt? What in the hell?
Good injury. You'll be like, oh, wow. That's
a crack or a break or a fracture or something.
That sounds like my fiance. He did all football and all the sports and stuff when he was young. And then there's some days where he's like, my knees hurt and I don't know why.
You know why?
It's like, yes, you know why. It's because they called him Rubber Man when he was in football because he knew how to fall down and he knew how to take hits and he would not get hurt often. But I said, it caught up to you.
Barometric pressure. Now it's all on your body.
I know, cheerleading and and gymnastics, and how many times I twist my ankle, and now it just pops.
Oh, ouch.
It's your right one too, isn't it?
It is my right one.
Yeah, because it started hurting as soon as you said pop, pop, pop. My right one went nope, nope, nope.
Mine came from a hot dog eating contest. So
I can't.
Okay, that actually sounds fun, and there's probably a really good story there.
What? Johnny, what?
I mean, it can get kind of intense. That's all I'm saying.
I've never even been to a hot dog eating contest.
I'm gonna miss all of that because they gotta take it and dunk it, and some of them dunk it in the water. And then,
Oh, to soften the bun.
No, thank you.
That just sounds like a choking hazard. That's what I think.
That's disgusting.
Somehow you gotta open your throat. I'm like, no. Okay, that was a visual.
That was like, and I'm not gonna be the one.
I mean,
My brain went somewhere, and I'm not gonna say it because I don't want to be demonetized.
this is why you never eat hot dogs and corn dogs on camera.
That's all the
Somebody somewhere is going to be into it.
The State Fair of Texas, my greedy behind, every year I was like, because the Fletcher's corny dog line would be very long. Like you would have to wait like an hour in line. So I was like, if I'm waiting an hour in line, I'm going to get 2 corny dogs. And yes, it's going to cost me 19 freaking tickets, which is the equivalent of like $37. But I would leave and I'd be double fisting corny dogs. And I would and that's the visual I got, and then I ended like stuff would drip. So you're like,
oh no!
I think you got it. I was like, not only did I walk around looking greedy as a,
you have pictures of this double fisted.
I'm sure my sister Michelle has them because I would just.
My sister's name is Michelle as well.
I feel like everybody has a sister Michelle. Yeah. As soon as when you said opening your throat, and it took me back to my corny Fletcher dog days, or Fletcher's corny dog days at the State Fair of Texas.
I can see them walking around.
And they're big too. These are not normal sized corny dogs. They're like they got some dirt.
They're like the extra, yeah.
$37. Them mother suckers need to be that dog.
I mean,
I think there's a special category for those kind. I don't know.
Maxim.
I hate you, Tony. Yes. The golden black package. Yes, ma'am. And we just got Sienna demonetized. Okay, so no, I'm just kidding.
That's okay. It's okay. I said the F word a couple times on Tony's stream last night.
No, I don't have
corn dogs.
So it doesn't matter. You can say anything.
You heard me good damn well what I said, and you knew exactly what I went when I said it. That's why you had to take a moment. The golden black package.
oh.
I told my fiance about how you can't say alligator without saying gay. He just rolled his eyes. He's like, of course you would think that. Like, of course you would figure that out.
Alligator without saying gay.
He's just like, I can't believe I'm going to marry you. I give each other that look all the time, though. What am I going to do about you?
I texted my really good friend Neil, who lives in Miami, who's gay. I said, all this mother suckers. But personal sorry. It's not like he's the only gay Neil in Miami, but still. And I was like, listen, guess what I heard last night? I heard that you can't say alligator without saying gay. And he's like, oh, honey, yes. And he's like, I'm going to steal that. I was like, I know, isn't that great? I was like, I cannot act stereotypical right now, please. There we go.
All right. So we're 9 minutes in. We have a lot of people in the chat. I think we're maybe ready to begin. And our first question is something that I actually wondered myself, but never really thought to ask. But a viewer in the community section asked, what are those ghost hunting apps really picking up? You ever heard about those? I actually have one on my phone. I like to play with it for fun. But it's like a little ghost radar. I think there is one called Ghost Radar. And it's supposed to pick up energy and transmit it in the form of certain words. And what I want to know is what those apps are actually picking up. Is it ghosts or is it something else that the app is saying, oh, here's some energy or some radiation or whatever coming in. Let's,
Chariot card popped out, so movement is one.
Mm.
Put that back in and try again.
So whoever's ready can go first. All right, what do you got?
I was just saying, I got the chariot too. Sweet.
I didn't get the chariot. I got 3 major arcanas.
Me too.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'm trying to be open-minded here because my logical mind says if you have detected with a earthly device spirits, ghosts, you have now proven that it exists. You have now just also proven there's another side, and you've proven the soul, and you've proven life after death. And that's a big thing. That's not a little thing. If you have literally created something that is going to pick up energy like that, you have done something beyond belief. So I'm thinking, since it's not been accepted as a fact that it's, I don't know what you're picking up exactly. However, I get the 10 of Cups and the Empress. Empress is life. 10 of Cups. There is something, some sort of energy. Now I'm thinking more electromagnetic type thing, and you are picking up something like that. But at the same time, it's still an energy. And but I do think with the Hangman and the 9 of Wands, there needs to be a perspective that maybe you're not picking up ghost as you think it. You may be picking up an energy as you are not aware of. So I think you are picking up something, not necessarily what you think of as ghost, but you are picking up some sort of life or some sort of energy, because I got 2 cards of life, so I can't ignore it and say it's not. So there is 2 cards of life, but I won't say ghost exactly.
Environmental energy. I got, and that's out of balance. That's what I'm getting. So it could be if, especially if you're around an area that has a lot of devices and there's not an EMF there, you're going to just pick that energy up. Or you could be in a place that has high ghost activity, but what it literally is just transmitting is energy. That's it. You have to use your discernment, temperance, judgment to discern what energy is that exactly. Is that energy that is spiritual that left and is still, some of it is left and is still there? Or is it wishful thinking? I want to think with the 9 of Cups. I want to think this is spirit energy. So that's what I'm going to believe. But you definitely got to use your temperance to discern. But the short answer is it is just literally those devices are picking up energy, displaced energy.
What's interesting is we have that in us to detect energy without apps and things. So.
Yeah, this is a sort of a sounding board for spiritual, energy. I get this, which means that they have moved into a different phase of their lives. I also got the Chariot, and I got the Sun. Isn't this the Sun in Tarot? 19. 19 is the Sun. And I got the Sun, which means that it's all energy, accelerated, moving at a higher rate of what do you call it? Vibration. It says successful. The truth is that there is some kind of connection. The truth is there is a connection to with the whatever power they're able to muster to to communicate, but it takes a long time for it to happen because I got these patients and the waiting card. So I think you're right. There is something. I think it's energy. Well, we're all energy, and we vibrate on a lower level. So this things that vibrate higher cannot be seen by our naked eye, but they can see each other. But that wasn't the question.
Still fascinating though. And you know, I got the same thing. The cards that I have, it's just showing me different kinds of energy. So stuff that is just in the environment. And I'm also getting with the star, like electromagnetic, like frequencies, especially if you live in an area. Like I was seeing like power lines overhead and like
Oh, go away. Get away. Run away.
Communications and satellite dish and stuff. It picks up that kind of energy. It picks up like the energy that surrounds, because I mean you can use these apps outside too, the energy that just kind of exists in nature. It also picks up, I have the Empress also, and I did pick up a life force energy. It picks up on everybody's like, what do they call it, the biomagnetic field. The apps can pick up on that, and the more people that are around, the stronger that energy is and the more concentrated it is. But it's not to say that it doesn't necessarily pick up spirits, because I have the death card on the bottom, and this one, it reminded me of like, well, I guess actual death, what you think of with like ghosts and people who've crossed over. If somebody is like desperate enough to communicate, they will try and do that in any way possible. It's like, oh, somebody has this app running, they might be listening. I have to try to get a message across. So some might try and do that. Or if you are meant to receive a message from the other side, Spirit's going to try and give that to you in a way that you will get. So it doesn't mean that it picks up strictly ghosts all the time. It picks up on all kinds of energy, but it could, once in a while, it could be somebody in the spirit realm.
So does it pick up this maybe your fiance's energy when you guys are together? Does it pick up the energy of another person when they're in the same vicinity as you?
I don't know.
Your app.
I haven't used the app in a really long time, but I should try that. I remember one time though, I was reading a book. I was not even reading it out loud or anything. It was just silently reading, and the app kept picking up the names of the characters in the book. And I thought that was really, really bizarre. I'm like, is it pulling this out of my brain? What is happening?
Something's reading it with you.
I guess so. I was never really able to explain that one.
Run away. Scary.
Like Alexa, who listens to all my damn conversations and will chime in, and she's so disrespectful.
Eavesdropping.
But yet when I ask her to turn on the light, she acts like she can't hear me.
We're moving to something a little bit different. Somebody in the community asked if dragons were ever real, or if they weren't, was there a creature that once lived that dragons are based on? Because people had to have gotten that imagery from somewhere, and a lot of cultures have their own interpretation of like a dragon or some similar thing. So I'm really curious about that.
What was the second part of the question again?
Was there a creature that once lived that dragons were based on?
Okay, I got the answer in the same one. Interesting. Okay. I get no, they are not. With the first one of the first cards I pulled, I got 7 of Cups, 10 of Swords, and the 3 of Wands. They were not. What it was though was folklore. That's been passed down because it's special oral history. And sometimes the prototype, kind of like, because it's so funny how this card is a mermaid, And it's kind of telling same thing how like mermaids. It was like used as a way, because if my memory serves, the whole point of the mermaid was also used as a way to scare certain fishermen, so they wouldn't, coming into dock and things like that. Dragons were kind of on the same realm. Fight with the Five of Swords, kind of something used to be divisive, I guess, if you say, back in the day, or to scare people from kind of messing around in their territory. But I get they were not real. It was kind of the prototype is not necessarily like a prototype. It was more of like an urban legend myth that kind of continued to get passed around.
No, and I gotta agree there. I think they're based off of stories, but they come from the need to protect. And so I know mermaids protect treasure, dragons protect treasure. Wyverns are based off dragons, which also is supposed to protect treasure. But I get the strength in the Knight of Swords. It's meant to sort of be a guard, as it were. Now, where it comes from, it's sort of based off of, I get the image of a chimera, something that has different parts put together. And so that's kind of like a mermaid too. And this is not just a lizard, but it flies, but it's stuck also within the cave. So it's not something you see flying around. It's always like, okay, you can't go in there because there's a dragon. And so it's sort of based off of that, I feel.
You know what I get when you were saying that, Johnny? Is like that's almost what I was getting. It's like the precursor to the Candyman.
Mm-hmm.
The boogeyman.
I get that too. I get that. I mean, it was really something that people who did a lot of shipping they did travel across the water. So the whole thing about, monsters in the water was a big deal for people back when we thought the world was flat. So people were waiting to see something like that. They really wanted to see. It's become an addiction to people who believe so strongly in dragons. They really love them. So they've created this thing that goes into books as a character that they can use to scare people with. And because they're so powerful and disruptive. But people love dragons. I have a nephew who just loves dragons. Everything dragon.
I got really similar stuff. I got that and I think it depends on, I think there was a lot of reasons why people were saying like, oh, don't go there, there's dragon there. It was like to discourage somebody from either leaving home and traveling because there was work to be done. There's also somebody like a retelling of an experience, because the mental image that I had was like snakes, somebody being bit by a snake, or somebody being like in places where they have the big boa constrictors and stuff, somebody having a run-in with one of those big snakes, and they're relaying the story back to their children, and they want to really amp it up because it's exciting. It causes like a big emotional stir, especially, way back then when they didn't really have the means to fact check, they can't go in with their camera and take pictures and stuff like that. It is like, it is a myth. That's what I get with High Priestess. It is a myth, but over time with Hangman, it became so popular that it almost became accepted. It's almost like they're real because we make them real, but they're not actually physically real, if that makes sense. They're just kind of a huge part now of storytelling and mythology and stuff in our world.
Every culture's got it, I suppose. They got a creature or something that's, like that deck that I have, the Long Booby Susie is what it's called. And they told their children of Long Booby Susie that if you don't behave, we will send you outside because she hides in the bushes. And she has two long, giant boobs, and one has
He is saying boobs as in
boobs.
B-I-T-Y.
Long booby Susie. That's her
Wait.
name.
These are cards that you have. You didn't bring.
Yeah,
me
they're in the
cards.
African Oracle Rising thing that I have, the African Goddess Tarot, whatever it's
How
called.
did I miss that? How did I miss long
Long booby
titty? What?
And she has two long breasts, and one is filled with poison, and and she's right on top.
Oh
And
my gosh!
one is filled with poison, and one is filled with milk. And if you don't behave, then your parents will send you out to Long Booby Susie. And so she was the threat. There's another one in here called Aunt Nancy, and she was the Spider Woman. So she would also come and get you if you didn't behave. And so, you know, everybody's culture's got one. The Aisha Candisha. You haven't heard of that one? That's she is supposed to be a nymph. You know, the one with the horns and looks like the seductress. So everybody's got one, I suppose. Some sort of creature that'll come get you.
It kind of reminds me of the boogeyman, I guess. Every culture has a boogeyman.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get into something really weird, but I thought about it the other night because I was listening to something a lady was talking about. Now, I've heard this pronounced two different ways. I think it's Cotard syndrome. Some people call it Cotard syndrome. Cotard syndrome is a delusion where a person believes that they are dead or that they are a corpse walking around. They may or may not believe that they have functioning organs. Some of them believe that they don't really have limbs or they don't really have a heart or a brain or a stomach or whatever. They are 100% convinced that they are a dead body walking around. And some of them won't eat or they'll put off sleep because they think they don't need it. So what I want to know is, how does Cotard syndrome affect somebody spiritually? It's, you know, somebody who's actually very much alive, walking around 100% believing that they are dead. I even read somewhere they did I think it was a PET scan on somebody with Cotard syndrome, and they had very, very low brain activity, almost vegetative, but they were walking around and alive and talking and stuff.
So
How
there's
does that
not
affect somebody spiritually? Because I thought that is weird.
So there's zombies.
Pretty much, they believe that they're walking zombie. And it's sometimes the delusion does sometimes come with other mental illnesses, but that's basically the gist of it.
I get that it affects them a lot. 10 of Wands, 3 of Wands, because they have this they're between worlds type feeling. And so you can't really connect to the other side because you feel like you're still here and you shouldn't be, or something of that nature. I get the High Priestess and the Emperor. Yes, they're alive, right? But there is something else wrong other than just mentally. There is a energetic problem too. Knight of Swords and the Ten of Cups. There is some sort. There's too many disconnects. Like, it's different if you don't mesh with your family, if you don't mesh with your friends, if you don't mesh with your body. Like in the case of, I hate to make the comparison, but in the case of like transgender, to where you look in the mirror and you don't see what you feel on the inside. So there's a disconnect. This feels like there's way too many disconnects all at the same time. And so you feel kind of out of body in a way. Okay. But that's very good.
I would say there's 8, because one of the first cards I picked up was the 8 of Swords. How do they feel spiritually? Very disconnected, very disenchanted, they don't even like the offer of spirituality, if you will, because it's literally being offered to them in a cup and they don't like it. Something Donnie said about thoughts too. There's too many of them. They're too fleeting because their challenge card was actually the Ace of Swords. Their ability to actually have concrete single thoughts when it comes to spirituality too. They just, and it's sad because this is a mental issue. This is not physical. This is not an actual physical ailment. This is a mental. They just, so there is no connection because there's no. I hate to, not to say that this is not what I'm trying to equate it to, that everybody with a mental illness is not capable of spirituality. That is not all I'm saying. I'm saying with this particular malady, it is because it is mental, there is that block of being able to accept spirituality, any form of spirituality as it is.
This is weird. This is weird. I mean, I'm weird, so I can call other people weird. I just admit that I'm weird. It's just, I think that these people are heartbroken in some way, or broken in some way, and they're that bridge, the heart is the bridge between the upper and the lower, and there's something going on in the heart chakra that is causing them to have this feeling. That's all I can get, is that it's that bridge. It's not working. It's not connecting the two, so they feel disconnected. Feel disconnected. The awareness of them being alive is just not something that they pay attention to. They don't want to. But the ultimate price is, their physical death at the end, and they'll figure it out once they cross over to the other side. But there's spiritual union here as well. So the need to connect is very, very strong in these people, but they just withdraw emotionally. That's why that heart chakra thing is just, it's in their heart. For some reason, they're just, I don't know. It's weird. Some trauma must have happened to make them have that disconnection. That is, hey, this is weird questions, and that is the weirdest question.
I am perfect for our stream.
I had never even heard this until I saw your questions. I was like, what? That is very interesting, Syndrome.
Mm-hmm. Alex had sent a super chat. Thank you, Alex. I saw it disappeared, but I did see it, and I was gonna wait my turn to to say thanks. I got very similar answers. I also got 4 of cups. It's almost like just something in the brain is just not connecting. Something is just not, I don't know. It's almost like an electrical outlet, but the plug is the wrong size, and so it's not really working. It's like they are having trouble like feeling and being aware of the fact I am actually a living, breathing being. There's, they might know, okay, well, really dead people don't walk around and stuff. They just lay there. They don't do anything. So they can't figure out why they are up and walking and talking and stuff. They're like, well, I don't feel like I'm alive, but I know that I'm not like dead in the ground either. Like it's just really, really, it's really weird. They are having a lot of trouble accepting like the nature of their reality, which is that they're a walking, living, breathing human being. I have also, there's some parts of the brain, now I'm not an expert or anything, but what I was hearing from Spirit was just not firing. Some things in the brain are not firing properly, and it causes a lot of confusion and like disjointed thinking. And now I have, how does it affect people spiritually? I have the Empress in reverse. Like they don't feel like they're connected to the flow of life like a lot of us do. They don't feel like they're connected to the flow of life. It is really bothersome. It is really, really bothersome for them.
So what happens to these people? Where are they like? This is a mental condition, yes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I was gonna say, sometimes like they can get treatment if the Cotard syndrome is like because of another illness or whatever, they get treatment for the illness. Some people do get through Cotard syndrome and they do reconnect again with their emotions. They do reconnect again with life, but it seems like when somebody is living under that delusion in that illness, they feel disconnected Yeah, that's like they just feel disconnected from the flow of life, from the flow of emotions, from the flow of just the energy around them. However, their higher self is still very much intact. Their soul is still intact, but this Cotard syndrome is like a really, really strong problematic filter put over them that they have to, work through or live through or try and get healing for, or, try and live with. But it's good to know that the soul is still very much intact and is aware of what's happening. But yeah, I just thought that was just it's really weird and sad.
I wouldn't know how to if someone came to me with that as a Reiki practitioner, I wouldn't know necessarily how to deal with that, because it really feels like an emotional and mental.
I think it's a not that I know for sure, but it's probably a crown and heart thing. And the only reason I say this because I keep getting the impression that it's more than just a mental defect or mental illness. It feels like maybe you don't feel connected to anything, because I keep getting that's too many splinters. There's too many things that are not connected. And it's not just, the left brain and right brain thing. It's like you don't feel connected to anything. You don't feel connected to the energy of nature. You don't feel connected to your family, your friends. You don't feel in particular happiness where you're supposed to. And it's like you feel like a zombie. Even though you still feel the wind, you still stub your toe, you still know you're alive, but there's some other little disconnect I feel here.
I keep hearing root chakra too, because you're not truly present in the body.
Yeah.
You're not grounded
and in the body, then you're too up here. And so I actually would think the crown chakra would be too heavy, overcharged, and the root chakra would be almost non-existent. Yeah,
because that's the very base of existence.
Is the root chakra, the connection to body, the connection to earth, the connection to family, tribally. So I don't know. I could be very
Catherine, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it.
Interesting.
It's very. I'm gonna keep looking this up.
And now I want to look more into it. But I guess it is nice knowing that the soul itself is not damaged. The soul is still there, but it's almost like they just aren't plugged in. They're not plugged in properly or something.
How would you guys, the Reiki practitioners here, how would you handle that? With crystals or with music or with drumming or with the crystal bowls, or what would you use if you had a patient who came in with that kind of thing, a client who came in with that kind of thing going on?
Gongs and Tibetan bowls, because they're made of Mama Earth. And they're super old, super. I have a bowl that is, Jody and I tracked it back to being almost 1,000 years old.
Wow.
It's expensive as hell. But I would focus in trying to get that connection frequency that way.
Melissa says it could be brain damage too.
So
a lot of things can cause Cotard syndrome. Yeah.
Wow, that is so fascinating.
It is. And to me, I would still try to treat them the same as I would other Reiki clients. because I wouldn't want them to feel like they're beyond help or anything like that, because they may not be.
Right.
However, I would encourage them to seek out like medical help first. And then I would try and help them work with the, with the different chakras and help them try and find ways to ground themselves.
I like what Johnny was saying too with crown chakra and heart chakra, seeing if we can help balance out the crown to get them more spiritually connected in some way, realizing that there's the spirituality that they feel they're attached to beyond earth. Here's what I'm trying to say. I would get them to connect crown chakra to other human beings through the we part and using that through the heart chakra.
Oh.
So I would work on the crown chakra through the heart chakra, like Johnny was saying too. I think you were spot on, Dr. Apprentice. I was just adding to it with the.
And a lot of people in the chat it looks like they're doing some research on it. Catherine's saying like deep depression, schizophrenia, etc., was filing progression that can result in Cotard syndrome. She's like wondering if maybe music could help reach the neurons in the brain.
Yeah, those Tibetan bowls and the gong.
From what I understand about Tibetan bowls from listening to Jody and y'all is the chakra bowls are for the chakras. The Tibetan bowls find where the need is and go there. So that'd be an awesome place to start.
And there's nothing like having something that was built by monks praying into it. That's ultimate, bringing you to a place of just serenity and submission. It takes you out of that me into that we.
Wow. It sort of plugs them into the collective energy a little bit.
Yeah, it just feels like everything stops like at the heart and just there's nothing up there. It's just devoid of energy. Just like all goes down there.
And my cards I kept getting stuff about the brain and the crown, but what I was seeing was just like scattered energy.
Yeah.
Whereas most of us stuff, fit together a little bit, if that makes sense. There's a method to the madness, whereas with Cotard syndrome, maybe it's just like scattered, like literally like scattered brain kind of. I don't know. Just really, really weird energy.
Yeah.
We are going to move from, that was really weird, but we're going to move into something also really weird, but very different. Okay. And that is on the other side. Now, first of all, does sexuality exist on the other side, or is that just a human thing? Are people like gay or straight or bi or, there's all these different ones. Are people like that on the other side too? Or is that just a life on Earth thing?
Five of Swords popped out. That's
At first I thought you were saying people had sex on the other side.
I wonder that too. I wonder that too, actually.
Do spirits bump uglies?
I get no.
Ain't nobody humping around.
After a few glasses of wine, everybody's going.
Oh, wow. Ooh. Johnny, you said no?
I get 5 of Pentacles, Tower, 9 of Swords, 8 of Swords. I'm gonna go no.
I got a tower too.
I get they don't want us to know. Mind your business. Go back to being an earthling. Mind your business. And whatever connection is up there is a deeper spiritual. It's Two of Cups is not about hunching. It's about a seeing eye to eye. And so that's about as deep as they say there it is. So get your mind out of the gutters.
So you go to the other plane to rest and rejuvenate. It's not about all other stuff.
I mean, rejuvenation can still be had. I
It
think.
sure can.
It'll bring somebody back to life in a minute. I think.
Let's technically speaking, the entire point of activity is for procreation. If you want to be technical about it, they don't need to procreate.
True.
Okay.
But this is not like the procreation that we do here. This is different. This is a different creation altogether. Something that we will never find out because it's behind that door.
The first card was the moon. It said, "I ain't telling you."
I don't think we're gonna know until
You
we
want to
get
know,
there.
you got to sacrifice something. You know what that is.
Call us perverts.
Oh.
Yeah, I got that they do still have intimacy, but it's emotional. It's spiritual. I get this word fellowship. It's like strong friendship. There's so many different kinds of love, and there's so many different kinds of intimacy. It's not necessarily what we think it is. I get that
Sounds a bit boring.
sexuality, it's kind of a human thing. Because there's a lot of lessons we can learn about ourselves and other people through experiences with like sex and sexual orientation and stuff like that. Like things like learning how to love and accept oneself and stuff like that. On the other side, you have that love and acceptance. I also have that I got King of Swords and I was just getting, Sienna, you're overthinking this. Like you're overthinking this. And that, yes, that energy is still present, but the purpose it is for the human experience. But yeah, they still like intertwine energetically with each other, but it's not like an orgy or anything like we're thinking.
Here's my problem, and not with this question, with the answers that we get to these type of things.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I've asked questions in the past that, yes, I overthink, I don't need spirit to tell me that. I don't need spirit to give me the spiritual eye roll. Like, are you asking this? Don't give me a brain of wonderment and then roll your eyes when I wonder about stuff. Yes, I'm overthinking it because that's part of my kit. That is
what humans do.
Yes, that's why we've dug in the ground to find things. That's why we climb trees to find things. That's why we get crystals out of the earth. People wonder, they explore, they do these type of things. Don't roll your eyes at me.
You heard it, spirit. You heard it.
Like, kick rocks.
Dang it.
You know, I'm also picking up that some people are extremely troubled during their lifetime due to like sexual orientation. Maybe they're in a place or a family that's not accepting, or for whatever reason, they have so much trouble accepting themselves. When they go to the other side, they need that reprieve. They need that lifted from them.
Humans.
And they get that reminder that, oh, that was part of your life on Earth character. Yeah. Your soul doesn't really, I just pick up that the soul doesn't, I don't know if it doesn't have a preference or if it's just, it has that love for everybody, but it's not necessarily sexual. It's that like emotional, energetic intimacy.
Sometimes you just need a new agent, you know? You're on stage, you're dancing, you're singing as fast as you can, and then it's over. You go, what the hell was that? Can't be a new agent.
Okay, I'm signing up for another role.
I didn't like that role.
Try again,
you know, there are no small roles, but geez, could there be different ones?
And then Dean in the chat saying, do we have to have sex with the same partner for eternity?
Oh God, I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
Well, who is it though?
Because I was like, some of us will have a good one on the earth plane. So then I cross up. What if it? Because I'm like, what if it's not? You guys aren't compatible, and then you got to spend eternity hunching the same incompatible hunchmate.
Yeah.
That just sounds like a life on Earth problem.
It does.
Yeah, it is.
It's a human problem.
It's a very
It's a human thing.
Mm-hmm. Ain't no batteries in heaven.
You are the battery in heaven.
They have no need, I suppose.
And I always wondered that about like couples that are very happily married, very compatible, and they go over, and I've done medium readings where a husband and wife still spend time together and they still love each other. But I imagine that it just maybe instead of sex, it's just like intertwining their energies or something, which maybe
My
that's
grandparents are still together.
But it's just a different. It's different.
Yeah.
They came to get your brother, you said?
My mother. So they're still together. My grandparents are still together. But it's more of a, what the image I got it was so funny. I had to laugh, but it's at the same time, it was cute. That farmer and his wife standing side by side, him with the pitchfork. That's what they
are. American Gothic.
So it's they meet up and find each other, but that's pretty much it. And they just sit in rocking chairs and watch the rest of us, I suppose.
Just chill out.
Yeah,
very entertaining down here.
I keep getting this mental image of hands folded like this. It's just that all their energies intertwine. It's just like emotional closeness.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? As far as we know, maybe on the other side that feels better than sex. Who knows?
Because I mean, that's what you need in the long run, is somebody that you can get along with forever. So
that emotional connection.
Because you hit 78, 80 years old, like, get off of me. What are you doing?
If it still works, sometimes it doesn't work after a certain age.
I mean,
I'm going to party with like Tupac and those guys. Let's meet up with some of the guys that I
I don't know. He didn't cross over on his own will, so you might want to stay out that crowd.
That's the only time you can be safe.
Maybe they're too busy doing other stuff anyway. Who knows?
Moses and Paul probably got beef in heaven or something.
Like, oh, your name is Peter. Oh, I know. I heard about you.
You might want to stay out from over there.
So, okay, changing gears actually quite a bit. Somebody else in the community asked about people during the Bible times, okay? Because in the book of Genesis and stuff like that, they talk about how Adam lived to be like 900 years old and Noah lived to be super, super old. And then we hear about like how they lived hundreds and hundreds of years. Where did that understanding come from? Did they just measure time differently than we did? Or, since it's weird questions, I got an open mind, did people just live forever almost?
No, it just felt like 100 years because there's no TV.
I just want to know what is up with that.
You want to know how they lived that long, or did they live that long?
Well, number one, did they? Yeah, number one, did they? To be honest, I don't think they did, but then again, open mind, right? Did they? And then number two, if not, where did that understanding come from? The idea that Adam lived to be 900 and Noah lived to be 900 or whatever.
And Noah was like 700-800 years old when he built the ark. So it's like, not only are you an old man, but you build a giant boat with all the animals.
and a lot of responsibility at a very old age.
And like Abraham's mother got pregnant at 99 and then still went on to raise her son and stuff. Like, I don't get that. Where did this understanding that they lived so long come from?
So we couldn't count back then that well.
I mean, and at the same time, our calendars were wrong too, because they judge years and stuff by seasons.
Hmm.
And not that they had a whole bunch of seasons in the desert, but when things died, they figured, it was the end of the world, which is why they worship Christmas trees now. But anyway, there's the Seven of Cups is how it starts. So yes, we have a misconception. We have some confusion. There is something. Page of Swords as bad news, negative news. So basically you were wrong. So no, they didn't live hundreds of years. The Ten of Cups and the Eight of Wands, this is also oral history passed down from generation to generation. This is also, keep in mind too, that there wasn't a lot of the illnesses we have today. There was no car wrecks and things of that nature. I mean, maybe you fell off a camel once in a while, but that was about it. And then the Empress and the Two of Pentacles, they had a different way of looking at life as well. Remember, their adulthood started at 13. And so there is
like 100 years.
the concept of time was a lot different for them. And so maybe they lived about 50 or 60 years because they also didn't have much medicine either. So maybe they lived about 50 or 60 years, but not hundreds and hundreds of years.
Oh, I was incorrect. It wasn't Abraham's mother. It was Abraham's wife, Sarah.
Yeah.
Right, because the baby
Sarah.
was Isaac. Yeah. Because she named it He Laughs. Because she laughed when the angel told her, you're going to get pregnant or whatever the heck. I don't remember. I haven't read
And
the
back
Bible
then, it
in a
was
long
probably
time.
the same thing. You never know. Them people was nasty. So
Them people was nasty. So.
they had tons and tons of babies, but wasn't two people on Earth. So somebody.
Yeah, I try not to think about that too hard.
Yeah.
Because wouldn't that just make a whole bunch of inbred people and then they wouldn't even survive?
Yeah.
So there had to have been more than two people at the start of.
So we can take most of that as just stories, I think.
That's why I can never get with the story, because I'm like, first of all, you need to tell me what? Okay. No, they died. They did not live that long. 5 of Cups and full passing on, starting a new life, new journey. So, no.
Hey, the go on your card, it looks like a 60.
Oh, it does.
That was the first thing my brain went to, was maybe a lifespan of average of like 60.
That's a good one. So around 60, they kicked the
If they
bucket.
were lucky, yeah.
Yeah, if they can get that long. The story originated because there was a lot of frackle-knackle going on, a lot of sadness with the 5 of Pentacles and 2 of Swords, a lot of uncertainty, scarcity was going on. So it was a way to give strength. So if you think about, I always think about the story of Job, not so much that Job lived to be a long time. Maybe he did. Forgive me. I've learned about this late in life. But it was a way to, if Job could go through all of that, you can too. If Moses could live to be 800,000 years old and build an ark and do all this other stuff, you can get through this little cat snatch and snatchity snatch that you're going through right now. It was a way to give people strength. Look how long they lived, because it was more of look what they endured. And it was this, like Johnny always says with the strength card, that calm endurance, that mastering, not bullying, is how they got through.
So boredom, bored. It feels like 100 years. Oh Lord, please take me off this big friggin' ball. I can't take it anymore. Let me go.
They didn't have no Murder, She Wrote.
So they did get sick, eventually, and the things happened. People walked off cliffs and stuff like that.
I mean,
And
it's true though.
So, but the stories that came from all of this, the people who, like Adrian was saying, they want to teach you through parable that you can do this. If they did it, you can do it too. And so your passion is ignited to and you're excited to live the same, well, not the same lives, but live the same amount of years as the people who did not. Oh, and I got this on the bottom. Shadow. So it was not nice that they did that.
You know what? People had quick lives. Life went by fast. And I also there was misunderstanding with Seven of Swords. And some of it, I think, was some people were just BSing as well. I'm getting that there's like conflict of like information, stuff being passed down over the generations. Somebody misunderstands it and then they tell it the way they understand it. So then the next person doesn't know any better. That's how they understand it. Maybe they misinterpret it, tell it to the next person the way they understand. So it causes like a big conflict here. I have, this is like average lifespan. Now I'm seeing 40 years with Four of Pentacles. It doesn't mean that people only live to be 40. It's taking into account like child mortality and like dying in childbirth and stuff like that. So it just kind of brings down the average lifespan. I'm sure some people did live a long time, but maybe not like 900 years. Like maybe, I'm sure there were people who lived into their 80s and 90s back in those days, I'm sure, but not many did. I also have, they wanted people to believe in like God's power. Well, God granted them this long, long life.
Mm.
I also have something interesting. This is like family lineage with 10 of Cups. I'm picking up family lineage. Like maybe somebody's lineage lasted hundreds of years over the generations, but that was misunderstood as, well, Adam lived to be 900. Maybe it was Adam's family line had so many generations that spanned 900 years. It doesn't mean Adam himself lived that long, but that's how it was interpreted. But that's what I got. So no, I don't think anybody lived to be like 900.
And keep in mind, that's Old Testament. In the New Testament, they said 70 years old was old.
I thought I read a Bible verse when I was a kid. This really confused me. And I tried asking my mom this, and she didn't really know either. Somewhere in the Bible, somebody in the chat knows where. This might be in Genesis, but something about God saying, from now on, I won't let people live past 120. I thought I read that somewhere in the Bible. Maybe somebody knows. Maybe I'm just tripping.
We got shorter and shorter and shorter and because it says 3 scores 10 and a score is 20, so 320 is 60
20,
plus
40,
10.
60, 70.
Now
Yeah.
you can live at 70. That's considered old now. So you're middle aged if you're 35, according to the Bible.
But I'm gonna have to look that up. Maybe I don't know if that was. Maybe it was just in like someone's study notes. I read that, but I thought I read that somewhere in the Bible as a kid. But
what the heck is the ancient? What is the oh my God, I lost it. Oh, Linda Bishop. I've been a member of the Ancient Astronaut Society. What is that?
When mankind had become corrupted in the period preceding the flood, God says, "My spirit shall not abide in man forever, for he is flesh. His days shall be numbered 120 years." Genesis 6:3.
Okay, I thought I read that.
Yes. So I'll like you a long time, so you can only live 120 years. There you go.
Yeah, because when I was a kid, and on TV, the Guinness Book of Records, they have like the world's oldest person. There was somebody that was like 116 or some really crazy number like that. And I remember thinking, they only have a few years left.
Yeah.
So anybody at 121 is the Antichrist. Just so clear.
The Antichrist is just a really, really, really old senile person in a rocking chair knitting.
And you know how really, really old people are. They are mean.
Because they're tired. Marie's asking what Bible, King James, Mormon, or Catholic. I don't know. It was the Kids Life Application Bible. That's all I remember. It was a kid's Bible.
Johnny? What did you read from?
I read from the internet, so it. I think all in all, it doesn't matter because it's all written by various people and it's a collage book. It's not written by one person.
Yeah, so I don't remember exactly which. It wasn't King James because it wasn't Shakespeare sounding English. But Okay, so I'm not crazy. Somebody was actually able to validate that for me. Thank you. Well, I'm not crazy about that.
Correction.
Asterisk. So now moving away from the Bible, but still talking about people. Are there people or beings who live underground, like in societies? Settlements underground that we're just not aware of? You think that with our modern technology and drilling and stuff, maybe we would be aware, but who knows?
You're talking like mole people, like
I'm not talking about the government having underground bunkers.
No.
Just specifying for everybody in the chat. We're talking like actual,
and not underground, like obscure community, like
talking physically. I'm going deeper underground. Why do I have all these songs in my head today?
But you know what? I was watching something a very, very long time ago, and these archaeologists were actually, they found an underground city. I don't remember where the heck in the world, but they found an underground city that had been long abandoned, and people lived there. So,
was it buried? Because had it
was
been
buried.
Maybe it was on top, and then it just.
But it looked like it had tunnels and stuff. It went really deep. I wish I could remember where in the world that was.
Never mind. This is why you pull more cards, because if I had stopped at where I stopped. I'm in disbelief. What do you have, Johnny?
No. I get there used to be, though. The Wheel of Fortune and the Empress, over time, they came to the surface. But yes, there was tons of that. Eight of Cups and Hangman eventually left with the Eight of Cups. However, signs can still be found of the civilization. Now, mind you,
I got the Eight of Cups too.
Mind you, there are people who live in the forest that they're just finding, like in these little ancient tribes and this and that and this and that, where ain't nobody got no shirt on type of thing. So there could still be a whole race of people under the earth, and we have no idea. But
that's what I was wondering too, because
I'm
hot buy cards.
Because here's what's wild. Not wild. I had to really go, because I initially stopped after a couple cards. I said, no, pull some clarifiers. They are, but they're not 100% solely underground. They do come up for periods of time because we have not quite developed a way where we do not have to have some type of vitamin D through sunlight. They also cannot grow anything underground. So what happens is, like, they come up to farm, pick their crops, go back down. So there are parts of their communities live underground, but they still come up and poke.
They come up to go to the grocery store?
Basically. Actually, what's interesting, they are successful because they're self-reliant with the Six of Wands in the environment. There is burden again, but they're like super, like Queen of Swords, because I was like, well, I'll be damned. Like King of Cups, Queen of Swords, they're balanced actually, and they're able to succeed even in spite of some of the challenges and the hardships. But yeah,
and we have to keep in mind too, the concept of underground doesn't mean under earth. They could be in a cave and it has, different.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting, because they have their own government, their own hierarchy, their own systems. So they are independent little nations. Yeah. And they kind of want to, I
think that way. They don't want
us coming around.
No.
I don't blame them.
No, I don't either.
No, we would probably put them in jail, and if we caught one of them, put them in jail.
It's what they do to tribal nations. The first thing they do is want to show them cameras and things.
And then you get the missionaries trying to come in and.
You ever heard of Jesus? No, go away.
Yeah. E Rose in the chat said the Derinkuyu underground city. It was in Turkey.
Ah.
Yes, I knew it was somewhere like in that kind of part of the world, but I could not remember.
You know what I'm thinking of? So there's this story about these people, they were, we'll call them missionaries, went and found this indigenous tribe in South America, and they were like, okay, they took them and they killed them, and they were never to be heard from again. It was all this folklore, but then somebody went and found them again like a decade later, and they took the only picture they saw, because they thought one of the guys was killed. They took a picture, and sure enough, there's this white guy rowing with this indigenous tribe. And they were like, no, they didn't kill him. They captured him. And now he's because he was dressed and everything. He's like rowing. Like, I don't know.
He got in to fit in. That's what it is.
With the get in. And I was just like, I wonder if it would be something like, I don't know. It's just like, we found them, but the right ones get to stay, and they just end up adapting. And
it's like a Twilight Zone episode. He disappeared. No, he didn't.
They had sworn that the two people who got in were killed, and because they were trying to paint the narrative that they're savages, the typical narrative. And come to find out, a decade later, when they found, they're like, nah, we watched. He was rowing with them.
And savage or not, stay out of my house.
Yeah. There's something to that. They do communicate. I don't know that they communicate. Really? No. I don't know. No. They have many portals or doorways or entrances and exits, and little places that only they know about. Oh, that's what that is that they communicate. They leave messages for each other up top and below. Oh my gosh. And then everything is written, and they have their own systems and everything. But they stay away from us. Look at that house in the distance.
Yep.
They're like, keep your distance, because those people are crazy. You'll never come back. But there's, long story short, yes, there's something under there, something in, I wouldn't say like Johnny says underground, but there are underworld people, if we could call it underworld.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it is technically under our world, kinda, sorta.
Yeah, they're not in our world. We're not on the same stage.
they kind of have their own world.
Yeah.
You know what? And I also got, yes, there are very, compared to the people who live on the surface, there are very few of the people who live in the societies under the ground. They are aware of us, though, and they watch for outsiders. They watch. And the challenge here is they're threatened. Well, I mean, they do find a lot of people from the surface to be a threat. Anybody who is an outsider, threatened to their way of life, they want to be able to continue, living the way that they do. Obviously, who doesn't? We want our society. I mean, there are things we want to improve in our society, but we want humanity to keep moving forward. That's what they want too. But they have concerns. They do have their own leadership. This I was seeing, I don't know if chief is the right word, but some kind of a leader. That like maybe there's a couple of small groups or something, because I'm not seeing anything like huge. They do have their own systems, their own smaller like ways of governing themselves. I have that actually many of them did migrate to the surface. A lot of them decided to come up to the surface.
The teenagers.
There was something here on the surface that appealed to them more so, and they wanted to connect with the people on the surface. But there are still some that are, still under the ground. There is almost like what story, I don't know, it wasn't Aesop, it's one of those guys, the philosopher, whatever, has a story about the cave. and how these people lived in the cave their whole life, but they started seeing shadows or whatever. And somebody left the cave, came back and told the others, and the others didn't believe them. Like, that is coming to mind for some reason. Some of the people who have spent their whole lives, maybe not like the entire life underground, but not living among people on the surface, some of them, like their children or whoever, were curious and wanted to come up. And they found like, oh, it was Plato, not Aesop, of course. Thanks, Sean. But some of them come up and they liked what they saw up here. They liked the sunlight, and they like, that's what I'm picking up, is the sunlight and like flowing water and stuff like that. But yeah, there are people that still live in, primarily underground dwellings. A lot of them have come to live on the surface, but some of them are still there.
Are they trolls or dwarves or
People.
people?
Because I mean, if you leave
very, very
anybody
different.
alone, they will find their own language and their own civilization. It's
Oh yeah. Oh
That's
yeah.
what anybody has ever done. So they'll get it together, and then anybody from the outside is always different or an intruder or weird.
Right.
Just because we're used to each other doesn't mean that they are, especially if we go dressed like this. So There you go.
Yeah, I don't think they're coming out for In-N-Out Burger and stuff like that.
They should.
They're not popping in and out.
I was going to say they can miss In-N-Out Burger. Sorry.
Give them a Shake Shack gift certificate. They'll be over here.
They can miss that too.
I might come up from underground for some A&W chicken strips. But I
It's the one that got all of us on the same page. We're like,
this is a little bit different. We're moving from people to animals. And we were actually talking about this before the stream started. Do animals, do they understand each other? Because Adrian, what was your example? You're talking about the birds.
I had two little, regular little cockatoo birds are sitting on my balcony, and they were kind of facing each other outside, looking out, whatever. Then I had these two crows in a tree, and I knew the little two cockatoos were talking about the crows. They were talking, so you could tell because they look at them and be like. So I was like, I wonder if all animals, could the cockatoos understand bears and understand hogs? Because when we go to Spain, Spanish is Spanish, but each dialect of Spanish is very different. So is it kind of like that? Do they have the universal animal language, but then they have bear dialect and crow dialect? Because they were talking mad junk. I know gossip when I see it.
And you know what else? I mean, there's people, we speak different languages. Two people who don't understand each other's language can maybe get the gist of through gestures and through tone of voice and stuff.
That's what I don't get, that they understand like whales in their echo communication. They understand that, even though dolphins do it too, but dolphins are not going to understand what the message is from a whale. But there is here with the Ace of Wands and the Page of Swords or the Knight of Swords, you do understand gestures. And there is proof of this, of course. If all the nature programs I've watched, if there is a predator anywhere around, all of the birds make all the noise you possibly can because it draws attention. Then every single antelope, gazelle, whatever it is, their ears go up and they go this way because they're trying to take in the noise. And so other animals then look and say, oh, why is everybody looking that way? And then they look that way, even if they can't see, but they know there's something in the horizon. And it's kind of the same thing. Even though Mexican Spanish is different than Spain Spanish, different than Cuban Spanish. But if all of them got on their chair and was, then okay, sucker, you need to run.
I just thought of this too. Oh, man. Okay, yeah.
Any black person in public, if you start running, I don't know why she's running, but I'm running too.
I was literally about to say that, and I stopped myself because I watched the first episode of season 3 for Atlanta last night. And there's this scene where there's kids in the backseat of the car, and they did not say a word. They just each looked at each other and communicated. And she was like, we're about to get killed, right? And the other one was like, yeah, I know. And the other one was like, yeah. And I was like, oh my God, that is so the Black experience. We communicate without saying a word, just by looking at each other.
Because that's how we had to in our bloodline. Is that's because as slaves, not everybody was a slave, but I'm just saying most people who are of color, African, but not, because Chinese were slaves and all of that. But you have to find a way to communicate, and the nonverbal communication is very real. It's very, very
pass that down. As soon as I was like, oh, that reminds me of the scene from Atlanta last night. They had a full conversation and planned their escape with just looking at each other. So true. I pulled the strength card, which told me, yes, they can understand each other, understand instances, and it's very, very strong. And then the rest of my cards don't make any damn sense. But it's, yes, they can. There's also two, there's a, I'm not going to say, I don't like the word vibration. There is almost like a universal call when there is danger, a threat of danger. Yeah. And that's what I got too. It's almost like, no matter what dialect of Spanish, agua is agua. Water is water. It is that same thing where you can say it and it's like a chee, and everyone's like, uh-oh. Like Johnny was saying, take off running. They all know.
There's no standing around going, what's happening? What?
Well, some of them do, and those are the ones that are on the news.
Those are the ones that end up in the National Geographic.
Yes.
That's another universal rule of the African Americans. We don't wait. We
like Mealy in the chat is saying, a scream is a scream.
And you do not have to be the fastest. You just have to be faster than you.
It's got to be faster than you.
Oh, that's it.
I ain't worried about it because I'm fast.
If you're doing the look back, fall down horror movie thing, then okay. You keep looking back there if you want to, because you want to know how close it is to you. I'm going this way. I don't like running, first of all. And if something made me run, I'm going to keep doing it.
What did we just talk about earlier, too? The secret underground societies. You don't have to run fast. You just need to know where all the trapdoor exits are.
That's it.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
What'd you get, Tony?
I don't know. I got the Hanged Man for the outcome. So not all. I don't think that it's interspecies communication is, but like you said, a scream is a scream in any language. If I think it's more like a sharing of energy. More like that. It's like that energy, that fight or flight energy that everybody sort of can tap into at the same time. And it feels like you are all on the same page because you are.
I was like, I didn't really use vibration. It's something different. Like it's more intense. It's more purpose driven. Like that's the word. Thank you, Tony.
Because there's kids play on the playground and they scream when they're having fun. And people scream on a roller coaster because they're having fun. That is a different vibration. But they're screaming as though you are in danger or there's a fire or something. That's very different. You can feel the difference when somebody screams because they're having fun versus screaming because they're in danger.
I did that to my mother. Scream. I was like,
you are horrible.
I was a horrible kid. No, I wasn't a horrible kid. I was a good kid.
You would have thought the fart in the face would have stopped a lot of that.
Yeah, you think so.
But you kept going. You didn't learn your lesson.
That made us greasy.
Anybody who's new to this channel or any of us who doesn't know the context, I'm so sorry.
Look back.
Well,
This
this
last
is okay. Let
recorded,
me
still
just
on
tell you
YouTube.
this story really quickly. It's like the screaming that I did. My sister and I were playing. We were screaming at the top of our lungs, and my grandmother, who was blind, she busted through the door with a broom, and she just started. We were like, whoa, whoa.
That's what you get, Tony. Got whacked in the face with a broom. That's what you get. Badass.
Tony's grandma sounds like she was a really fun lady.
Y'all traumatize that poor woman all the time. God. You know what? When you die and cross over, she gonna come down to get you. And she gonna be like,
She's gonna be holding the broom.
she's gonna be like, oh,
No, she's coming to save the day, and y'all just
ass. Y'all the baddest little y'all the bad.
If she didn't have us, she wouldn't have any fun. She didn't have us. She had no fun whatsoever.
Oh, my stomach hurts from laughing. Bad. Golly.
Ooh, I should put all my stories in a book.
I feel like this is like content that could fill an entire live stream. Stories about Tony's grandma.
Oh, I feel so bad for your granny.
Bad for her. She had a good time.
Oh, I feel so bad for Granny.
She had a good time. She was like,
You guys kept
she
her
thought her
busy.
grandkids was being murdered, and she.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Sienna.
Oh no. I
Oh
basically
Lord Jesus!
I got a lot of the same answers. Here's the danger with Five of Swords.
Mm.
There's an offer of communication. A lot of prey animals, I feel like a lot of prey animals have like an emotional or an energetic connection to each other, where it's like they kind of, some of them are like, oh, there's a coyote over here. Okay, run, 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 run. They have like this, you know, like you guys were saying, a scream is a scream. It doesn't matter the language. That sense of danger kind of transcends all other forms of communication. I have that. Animals that are close enough to each other's species can maybe understand each other. Like, for example, I'm picking up like a donkey and a horse might be able to understand each other, or a mule and a horse might be able to understand each other. But it doesn't mean that it's like they exactly know. It's almost like different dialects a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I also have that some species, no, they don't. Some that are very, very different, they don't. Like a moose is not going to understand a whale call.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to get, there's going to be that conflict, you know, like, what are you saying? What the hell? They're not going to get it. But I feel like species that are close enough will be able to understand each other. And then like prey animals kind of have like this energetic connection where maybe they don't always look out for each other because it's like, I got to be faster than you. But I will alert you that there's a coyote coming.
You better be fast because I'm out of here.
I feel like they pick up a lot energetically. They pick up the way something feels.
Yeah.
Or, you know, you ever heard a rabbit dying and how they scream?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, it's actually really upsetting. But other rabbits or other small animals will hear it and go, okay, I don't need to know what specifically is going on. I just need to GTFO.
Mm-hmm.
That's traumatic.
It is.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. But that's what I got. And then our last question, I thought we'd do something kind of fun. In an alternate universe where we all exist, what are each of us doing right now? So like Tony will read on what she'll be doing in an alternate universe. Adrian, what are you doing in an alternate universe? You know, and Johnny, what are you doing in an alternate universe?
Eating chips. I can tell you that right now.
I still am. I mentioned A&W chicken strips, and I still want some. So that's probably what I'm doing in an alternate universe.
I just DoorDash twice this week, so I don't need to do it anymore. Because
I literally ordered pizza while we're on the live stream. It's out for the-
oh,
it's
that
out for
sounds
delivery.
good too. It's
That
snowing. I hate to make
really,
people
really
go
good.
outside when it's snowing, though.
Tony always cracks up because, like, as soon as the live stream's over, like, and done, and there's a knock on my door saying, "How do you do that?" I know exactly how and when to order food, so it shows up when I'm ready.
Well, I'm dropping my cards on the floor in this universe.
What is
Maybe in the alternate universe, I'm not dropping my cards.
I want a pizza, though. That sounds fantastic. What am I doing? I'm murdering my wife.
Ooh.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes. There you go.
Hmm.
How's that for ending?
What cards
Abrupt.
did you get to get that?
I got the devil and the 5 of swords. So you're doing something very harsh, very brash, very wrong. This is 5 of wands, fighting, but it's devilish. This is abusive, basically. And then there's the lovers and the queen of wands. But then there's the king of wands and the 5 of pentacles. So there's some sort of drastic abuse there. So there you go. I didn't make it up. Look it up.
It's maybe that's an alternative universe where it's like our evil counterpart.
Yeah.
I got a little bit of that too, evil.
Mine is I'm starting a new job or doing a new line of work or something. Queen of Pentacles, King of Pentacles, death, change, Fool, starting a new journey, and Pentacle, a lot of Pentacles. So something about starting a new business venture, a new something, stepping out into it, a new financial venue. It's Saturday. Why am I working on alternate Adrian working on a Saturday? Well, sit down.
Overachiever.
It's BS.
So I don't know. She's home, but she's doing something dirty dealing, something, or she's upset about something. She's got some envious thoughts happening. But at the bottom of the reading is harmony and love. In the past, new beginnings for this harmony and love, and decisions to be made. Choose wisely. Ooh, what does that mean? And then she's sitting on the beach somewhere. She's a little upset. Around her is like hunky hunks. The wish is that she has some success and memories of love. So I don't know what happened to her relationship. There's some relationship thing that she had to go through, and it's over.
Boo-hoo.
Boo-hoo. I got mine. She got to get her own.
I mean,
Not my note, not my problem.
no, I'm not going to the alternate universe.
I
I don't know who
think I
that
want
is.
to
But,
either. So alternate universe Sienna is in a custody battle. There's her children with the sun card. There's a little baby involved. The challenge is a rich ex-husband who is trying to thwart. Well, she's too poor to raise the children on her own.
Wow.
I also have this would be her new husband, a really smart guy who
Poor guy.
figure out.
Poor guy.
I'm just getting, yeah, maybe a poor guy, but a smart guy who knows here's how you can get the kids back with the justice. Because I also have here, there's things kind of there's like multiple children involved, but one of them is very, very small. But there's like happiness. The kids are okay. The kids aren't really aware of what's happening, and we're trying to keep it that way. And then eventually things calm down. So alternate universe Sienna is dealing with really, I don't want to know who she married at the time, but I'm glad they're divorced.
You know what it sounds like to me? That alternate universe Sienna could have really benefited from that black and gold package that we were reading earlier in the reading.
Yeah.
Don't get married.
I'm just happy that regular Sienna has like really, really good fiance and everything's gonna be good. But alternate universe Sienna, I don't even want to go there.
Work it out on your own sugar.
But alternate Sienna gets her kids back, so I guess that's happy.
That's good. Yay.
Marie, I know how
I
to
don't even
email.
have kids right now. I'm the only one in the house.
Well,
I'm on the
committing
way for
murder
the day.
somewhere, so happiness all around.
Happy.
I still won't visit that alternate universe, though. I'm gonna leave that to her. She can figure that out.
I'm gonna leave that one alone. Thank you, though.
Full of
Yeah.
jerks, but
I don't want to hear any messages from this other universe. So don't calling me. I got no advice for you.
No. I'm just gonna enjoy being regular Sienna
Yeah.
with no kids.
We'll send them this.
Yeah,
That seems like that's
we
all
know
of
that
them.
we're not the alternate universe.
that's
So
true.
we
When
know
we're
that
in the
we're not
alternate,
the alternate universe, and they're
then
the.
I'll stay here.
We are the alternate because they're the alternate to us.
Yep.
So we're their
True.
alternate. So, yeah.
I will happily stay here.
Me too.
Okay, Marie, thank you.
I'm good.
Well,
And that was our weird question stream for March. And I'm so grateful that you guys were able to join, you three and everybody in the chat. For those of you who are new here, be sure to check out Johnny, Tony, and Adrian and subscribe and watch. The content is very, very good. You're going to learn a lot of really good stuff from them. And I mean,
and if you do not,
you know,
send long
if you're
booby
watching
feet.
me, chances are you're already subscribed, so I'm not even going to plug myself here. Go watch these three, and yeah, have fun. Make sure you like and subscribe to us. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you guys for those of you who sent super chats. I really appreciate it. Thank you for everybody just for being here and participating. It was really fun. We're going to see you again soon enough. Okay, bye.